Everybody, what's going on? I am Jamie Dawn, your evolutionary revolutionary astrologer, bringing you your celestial wisdom for the week of October 1st through the 7th of 2023. And if you haven't seen my social media announcement, it is official. My grandson, my first grandchild, has arrived. Welcome to this world, Samson David. He's absolutely perfect in every way. And I'm so proud of my son and daughter-in-law. And thank you for the kind words, love, support, all of that you have shown. And while I am thanking you, thank you just for showing up in this human form. My God, are we going through shit or what? Whew. Plus, thank you for liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting on these videos. They matter. And if for some reason this is a channel that resonates with you, please share it. Have people sign up. I love to interact with you as much as I possibly can. And I think we're probably feeling a full moon hangover. Yeah. Last Thursday night, Friday morning, early Friday morning here on the West Coast, that beautiful moon, man, I couldn't sleep. I know I slept. I feel fine. But every time I turned over, it was like I was wide awake. So there is a thing, a Buddhist practice, actually, that you can be awake even while you're sleeping. That's a whole nother subject matter. But anyways, I'm sure we're feeling the energies of this full moon still and recovering a little bit from the ideas or the experiences that we really want to be independent and shine our light and let ourselves get out there. And yet we have relationships that need tending, that need nurturing. And what we're doing with this energy, especially as we're leading into a full moon, or excuse me, a new moon solar eclipse on October 14th, and it's in the sign of Libra, and it's all about relationships, harmony, balance, fairness. We're looking at ways in which we've become codependent or we've overgiven or over-accommodated, and we need to pull that back, and we need to be more assertive with our independence, more assertive with our own individual ideas, having the courage to have strong conversations, having the courage to take actions that we listen to our instinct on. That we're not overthinking things, because with the Libra energy, and that's where we're in right now with Sun in Libra, and Mercury will make its move into Libra this week as well. So we'll put a little pin on the map there. But here we are looking at all this Libran influence, if you will, and we want to have peace and harmony, but we also need to be able to assert ourselves in a way that doesn't create us questioning, our true nature. I've had these conversations a couple of times with different people over the last few weeks and about their relationships. That seems to be a big, topic for a lot of my clients. And I don't blame them. We're relational beings. We're human. That's what we're meant to connect. We're meant to attach. I think about with my grandson, he, the way that he automatically attaches to his parents, right? The babies, we do that. We are looking for that attachment. It's by nature. Also, the thing about babies I love, and this is Aries energy, it's all about them. And the only way they know how to communicate is by crying, right? Or cooing, either way. But they will tell you, you want to know what boundaries are? Babies know, and they have no problem telling you what it is, right? That's the kind of energy that we're trying to take on here. And that we're still in relationship with our caregiver as a baby, but we're also saying, this is what I need in order to be in a healthy relationship with you. Change my diaper, feed me, all that sort of thing. Keep me warm. Think about that, translate that into our own relationships. And so the conversations that I've been having is that individuals will say, well, I talked to my friends about and my family about this relationship, and they're like scratching their heads wondering what in the world, or they're questioning things. And my first answer after I listen to them is, whose life is this? Whose choice is this? Whose relationship is this? It's yours. And someone from the outside in may not choose the same thing as you. And they may look at it, and I'm not talking about abuse. That's one that you don't need to go into, or that you do need to get out of if you're in an abusive situation. But if you're in a relationship that has tension and difficulty, well, guess what? This is where it's an invitation to get tools to be able to navigate that tension and that difficulty. And it's your relationship. Again, you get to choose. So this leads into, I'll talk some astrology here. Mercury opposes Neptune on Monday, and Mercury makes a trine to Pluto. Mercury is in Virgo in the last degrees. When it makes its opposition to Neptune in Pisces, and the trine to Pluto in Capricorn, then this can be a real stimulating time. This can have our visions and our dreams, our imagination really stimulated, which is a great creative force. And then you add in the earthy energy of Virgo and Capricorn that wants to take these creative ideas and put them into something tangible, something powerful that we can use. Yeah. So this can be a great time to be able to look at what is our fantasies and how do we bring them into reality. We may also look at our reality and say, this isn't the dream I wanted. This isn't the experience that I'm wanting. So I'm looking at changing that. We're feeling this change already with this new moon eclipse coming on the 14th. I point to it because eclipses are like new or full moon steroid, or new or full moons on steroids, meaning they're amplified. And we tend to feel the effects long before the actual moment happens. And usually it's a month before, month after. Here we are, we're already in that energy field. So paying attention. What I'm doing is I want to point out energetics, because we are energetic beings. We cannot dismiss the physical body from the mind and emotional body or the spiritual body. They all work together. So if your physical body is sensing something, pay attention to it. I'll give you another example. The other day, I was working out of some other location, and I needed to be there because of logistics. Well, I had to get my car serviced and logistics and that sort of thing. And as I was sitting there waiting for my next session to start, I started feeling anxious. And I was like, okay, this doesn't feel good to me. I got that restless kind of like nervous feeling. Something was up. And the space itself, and I'm going to do some space clearing on that when I go back to it, but the space itself has energy in it that doesn't resonate with my being. So I ended up getting an Uber and coming and Ubering back to my place, my home office. And once I got here, I exhaled and I felt settled. So I paid attention to that energy. And yeah, it cost me a little extra money, but nothing was worth me sitting in that energy and destabilizing myself. And then I couldn't be of service and show up for the next person that I was being of service to. So I share that with you. Pay attention to the body. It's always talking to us, right? So another pin on the map. On Tuesday, October 3rd, Mars is going to canoodle, as I like to say, but conjunct the South Node. Mercury is still making this trine to Pluto. The one thing I want to point out about conjunctions is that they're associated with unity. And so when you take a pair of planets and they're in conjunction, that means they occupy the same position of the circle of the zodiac. To the outside observer, it might appear that it overlays or obscures the other. So when these planets are in unity, it's almost like they're looking in the mirror, and you can't really be objective. It's more subjective, and you start to fuse together. You're not sure who's who after a while. So the energies of the South Node and Mars is in the sign of Libra, is that we might default, or some situations from the past may come up that say, hey, just keep the peace, or we become passive aggressive when really we need to assert ourselves. Mars in Libra has a more passive energy to it. It's a great peacemaker opportunity. It's a great time to have courageous conversations, because we feel a little more politically correct when we are having these conversations. We have a tendency to care more about what somebody else might think about what we're about to say or do with Mars and Libra here. Now, with that South Node, again, what we're looking at is some things from our past, or tendencies that we have, patterns that we tend to repeat, may create or cultivate a situation that may allow us to go back into a past pattern and pay attention to it and say, hey, wait a minute, this situation came up before. What did I learn from before that I either want to do the same or do differently? right? So we may find ourselves at the beginning of this week really being in a place where we get triggered, or it's an awareness that pops up. Maybe our fears can come in with Mercury trining Pluto here. Our mind has a tendency to tell stories that may not be true, where we get critical, that sort of thing. And that could pull up something from our past that we go, oh, well, I'm not going to do that again. Or, we come out more passive aggressive. In other words, an example might be, let's just say that I am in the middle of doing something and it's all chaotic and crazy. And I turn to my partner and they're like, are you okay? And I'm like, no, I've got all this shit going on. And then I don't ask for help. I get passive aggressive and I default to, well, they should see all the issues I'm having and just intuitively know what I need. And that sets us up for resentment if they choose not to do that, if they don't see it. Because the one thing we have to remember is nobody else is a mind reader. We're not reading people's minds, right? We're dealing with human beings that very often we are all in our own little world. We're our greatest universe. And so we can often see something. And if let's say I said to my partner, you know what, I'm fine, I got this. What are they supposed to do? Come and try and control and interfere? I mean, granted, it depends on the situation, but for the most part, you have to think about it in these terms, is that we need to communicate if things are frantic or we're about to get into trouble in some way or whatever, and our partner says, can I help? To say, actually, yeah, I really do need your help. Or no, I'm going crazy over here. Can you please help me? Right? And so we need to be willing to ask for that help. As human beings, we are designed to help one another, but we can't always expect the other person just to intuitively do it or intuitively know. Because remember, we're all wounded. We're all walking around this world with little traumas, big traumas, wounds, that sort of thing that can keep us in old patterns that we don't want. But I say that to bring out more compassion for one another instead of resenting them if they don't intuitively show up or do something that we are expecting. Yeah. Because really, as adults, it's our job to say what we want and what we need, to communicate our expectations. Yeah. And I think the hardest part is that very often we're just not given the tools in which to do that. And that's why it's important to gain tools. And that's also why I believe opportunities or situations arise so that we can practice these tools, so that we can, or if we don't have them, they arise so that we can say, hey, I don't have this tool. I need it in order to navigate this in the future. So if you feel like you need better communication tools, if you feel as though you need better ways of managing your own energy, self-soothing, self-regulating, whatever it might be, that's where having a professional can help. So please, I urge all of us, me included, to ask for that help. Doesn't make us weak, it makes us stronger, because together we're stronger. And what you do, what I do for myself, will make an effect on the collective. I won't go into all those details about how interconnected we are on this video, but maybe another video, who knows? But we know scientifically that there is a connection amongst beings, especially those in our tribe and those that we're intimate with. Wednesday, October 4th, happens to be my parents' anniversary. Happy anniversary, Mom and Dad. And that evening, Mercury will enter the sign of Libra. So it leaves Virgo, where it's been since the end of July 29th, actually. Long time, because it retrograded, remember? And another little pin on the map, but I'll talk about it in my next video. But Venus will finally be exiting the sign of Leo, because remember, she's also been retrograde and now direct, but she'll be exiting the sign of Leo in a few days. So on the 8th, but I'll talk about that next week. So with Mercury entering Libra, we'll be looking for more ways to be communicating in a politically correct way, friendly way. We're going to find ourselves being able to see both sides of everything, maybe three sides of everything. I always say there's three sides to a story. There's my side, your side, and then there's the truth of what really happened. But as we know, perception's reality. And with Mercury being part of our perceptive mindset, we want to see things happy and harmonious. And it does give us a chance to be more objective. But the one thing we don't want to do is we don't want to sugarcoat things. We need to be able to speak truth, right? Because a lot of times if we sugarcoat things, people won't believe what we are trying to communicate. But there's a sense of kindness that is invoked when Mercury enters Libra. And that reminds me, I was on my yoga mat in a class a couple of days ago, and the yoga instructor, who I adore, she was talking about her guided meditation and how the guide had said, meditation is more than just being mindful. It's also about kindness and being kind to yourself and kindness in the world. And so that just triggered another wonderful reminder from one of my teachers, who is a lucid dreaming teacher, Charlie Morley. And his teacher says, Charlie, the point of lucid dreaming, the point of our practices is to be more awake, more aware, and more kind. And so I think about that. Why not? Here we are trying to make a difference. And I remind us all, if you make a difference in one person's life, let that be enough. Let it be like the pebble in the pond that just ripples out. But let's continue to practice more awake, more aware, more kind. That's the point. And so all that to say, let's use that mantra, that mindset when it comes to our relationships, because that's really our focal point. We're always relating to people, even if you're not partnered with somebody, but you do have a relationship with family, or you have a relationship with friends or coworkers. I'm going to go on one little soapbox for a second. I am truly in the mindset of being of service. And in doing so, that means that we're putting other people's needs, desires in front of us, not before us, but in front of us, to meet it, to tend it. Now, I believe that the best thing we can do is checking in with ourselves first to see if we have the capacity to meet that individual. And that oftentimes being of service, if we don't have the capacity, is to say, I would love to meet you right here. I would love to show up for you right now, but I'm working through something, or I'm physically drained and ill and whatnot. I'm not able to show up. That is being of service. What's not being of service is to sacrifice and to not be present with them, and to only give half-assed energy and action and mindset with them. So I'll offer that as an awareness, because we are here to be of service to one another. And in doing so, we can create a better world. All right, you guys, I hope this helps. Please like, subscribe, share, comment. Come find me at jamiedawn.com, and I look forward to connecting with you. Have such a great week.